Good morning. Nancy's making it. Yay, Nancy. Let's see. Everybody's currently speaking. Oh, what is this? Kate, how you feeling about all these new Zoom features? I'm trying to figure them out.
I haven't been playing with them very much. There is a lot of features, aren't there?
Every time I think I know what I'm doing on Zoom, I'm like, oh, great. Where'd everything go? What is this? Let me see. Multiple figures. Hi, Nancy. All right. Spotlight.
Finally figured out how to get my mic on.
Oh, there you go. All right. And try to figure out how this works. It was like, oh, we have this new feature. Oh, here you go. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. So it goes like this. And then as people come on, apparently, as people come on, like let's say Kate and I were talking, then we would be up top like we are now, if that's what it looks like for you guys. And then everyone down the bottom would be smaller to fit everybody on one page. So you can highlight a conversation and not just one person. Okay. So I'm going to give it a few minutes. I know other people that are coming on that aren't quite here yet. How is everybody's 4th of July?
Oh, it's always fun with animals.
Yeah.
I've seen so many horror stories from friends with injured animals. It makes me so sad. Thankfully, everything here went smoothly, but my horses are well conditioned. They get this treatment twice a year because we have people that shoot muskets off every New Year for 24 hours. It's a thing that our town does, and they shoot cannons too. So
Oh,
like they go around town. It's supposed to be good luck to shoot the cannon over the field for a good harvest. So yeah, the horses get the muskets and the cannons. I really like it when it's like 35 and raining because they're out there with their muskets, and I'm just like, I mean, I know that's morbid, but I mean, like if they're willing to go do that activity when it's that weather, I mean, more power to them.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Nishan's coming for a 3-day clinic here
Really?
starting tomorrow.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, Kathy Price. I mean, I'm not gonna spill the beans because I'm sure she's gonna tell the story, but she had a crazy experience with Nishan that she's gonna share with
He
him.
broke his thumb.
He did?
Yeah. I'm not sure how. That's not Kathy's experience, apparently.
No, Kathy had a very good experience.
Where are you located? Because I got to work with Nishan last year.
I'm in Virginia,
Okay, okay.
which trying to get all of you folks from the West Coast here is like impossible. So when there is a Warwick Schiller devotee anywhere in the area, it's like magic.
Yeah, Nishan is pretty incredible.
But it's going to be so hot. It's so hot and humid here right now. It's nasty.
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina, so we're not too far from each other. Yeah, it's rough. We've had a hard couple of days. I'm ready for some rain. It's pretty horrible here.
Here as well. How is it in Alaska, guys?
It's been such a beautiful spring, summer, I guess. June is summer. And now it is clouded over and it looks like it's gonna start its rain forever thing. But it's up till now, it's been warm in the 50s at night and getting up to the 60s during the day. Very pleasant.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not that.
No. That's why we're not
That's why you're not what?
that's why we're not there.
Yeah. today's gonna be 102.
Ugh.
Yeah, 102. So, and I think Robin told me that up in Paso, it's going to be tomorrow 113.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, we were staying with JP and Lisa, and we watched the weather there, and it's in the triple digits every day. Oh, it's
Nope.
the people here were happy to see us come back because the weather showed up at the same time. They're blaming it on us, drizzly. And
Gosh.
Well, I was
Or
in Iceland a month ago today, and it was in the high 30s, low 30s, low 40s. It was crazy. We had a snowstorm, we had sleet, we had the earthquake, we had the volcano erupting. It was everything.
Wow. That's a lot of energy, Nancy.
It
Sounds-
was crazy.
Sounds like that's where Mother Nature is hanging out right now.
Ah. But I got to ride, even though it was 0 degrees.
Love it.
Good to know that we could all hop on a plane and go somewhere cool.
Mhm.
They said the high last summer was 62 for one day.
Wow.
Wow. That's crazy.
wow,
All right, so who's excited to talk about overwhelm? Oh, Kate, your face. You're like,
This is my list of what I have going on in my life right now. I just wrote it down and I'm just like, oh my God. I don't know how I'm gonna get through the rest of this year.
I should have taken a picture. I have a whiteboard that's the size of like half of a door, and it's filled.
Covered.
So this is why this topic really felt apropos right now, because of the fact that there's so much going on for me too, and I've really had to pull out my my tools for dealing with overwhelm, with the fact that, you know, for myself, there's a lot of traveling coming up. There's a lot of different things like public speaking and retreats and things that take a lot more work going into them than you think they do. And so being able to not go, oh my God, you know, or forget about not doing it. It's more like when it comes up, right? Because that's the way our brains work, where it's like the brain goes, you've got 4 weeks left, right? What do I do in that moment first? Like, I wanted to start there. We have other tools, but I wanted to just start in that place, because what I have found that helps is that I'll go outside, or I'll just sit someplace that's got a beautiful view, or someplace that brings a sense of peace, and I will just focus on what is good right now. You know, looking at things like nature, starting to go, okay, so in the scheme of things, how big is this thing? What if this thing, you know, bombs or doesn't go through? Is life going to stop? It's not. What are the things that are going right? I focus on my breathing. I'll get even smaller than that. I'll start to let go of any thoughts and start focusing on the bees or the ants, or looking at the flowers, or just being and thinking about. I love Don Miguel Ruiz, because he talks about, like, when you think about all of the things that are typically our biggest pressures, are all things that humans before us made up. They just made up, this is what life is about, right? The idea of, you know, money is made up, career is made up, social standing is made up, all these things that are made up. So what if you just looked at them as like, this is the dream that other people made up, but it's thin. It's not it doesn't really have substance. What does have substance is my heart and my spirit and the universe that's within me, and connecting to that. And usually I'm only doing that for 5-10 minutes. I'm not, spending half a day, but I might do that a couple times a day if I have a day where I feel like my head and my nervous system really want to tell me that I'm out of time, or really want to tell me that the sky is falling, or that I'm going to fail at something. And redirecting those thoughts, or having some way to cope with them, is more realistic than thinking that you're going to get to a place where those thoughts aren't going to happen. I think that building skills and tools to be able to deal with those thoughts is what people do that are in positions where their life is moving. And all of us, there's no there's none of us that gets out of this, right? Like, I don't care where you are on a social ladder or an economic ladder. We all have things that we deal with. And being able to let go of this idea that it's all on us, that's paramount. And it's also a training. You're training your nervous system, and you're training your brain. And I don't know about you guys, but the time that's hardest for me is when I'm either falling asleep, when I get woken up in the middle of the night, or sometimes those first few thoughts when I wake up in the morning, because those are the times when, right, Tom? Right. So those are the times when I'm not so in my flow yet, right? I'm not so in that place where I'm creating how I'm feeling about my day. I haven't done any reading yet, or affirmations, or meditating. So that's where the redirect comes in. And usually that voice has a lot of evidence that everything's going to shit, right? Or that you are truly out of time, or that there's no way that you're going to get all this done. And it might be true. Like, we may have more things on our list than we can actually accomplish. But what can also happen is that when we look at that overwhelm robs us of our motivation, of our why, of our joy, of our energy. And when that happens, what comes in but procrastination, feeling totally exhausted, being avoidant, maybe being irritable, maybe going and watching TV for a while. That's one thing that I might do sometimes. So, but those things, they're actually feeding the idea that you are powerless. So it's really important to pick something that is on your list. Decide how much of that thing you're going to get done. Are you going to just work on that thing until it's completed? And deal with all of the voices that are around it going, yeah, but that want to pull you over to something else. Especially if you work from home, this can be really hard, because when you work from home, there's so many things that are in your sight line during the day. So many people and things that have access to you. If you have animals, you can be like, oh, the dog needs this, or the horse needs that, or the cat needs that. So picking something and going, I'm going to do this amount of this. And until I get that done, I am not going to entertain the idea of anything else. And if I get drawn away by something, then I better be marching. Like, I'm going to be marching to get that done, to get back, because I'm putting like a magnetic field around this. This is what I'm going to get done first. There's a book called Eat That Frog. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's a great book, because what he talks about in the book is that what we tend to do is we start off our day doing the things that we like to do, and we put off doing the things we don't want to do. And what happens is that by putting off the things that we don't want to do, we're building pressure on ourselves, and it's draining our energy because we know there's that thing and we know we're avoiding it. So what he suggests is what you do is you eat the frog first. So the first thing you do in the morning is you do the thing you don't want to do. And what I've found personally is that when I do that, not only am I not being drained by carrying that on my back all day, I am energized. It actually gives me this kind of turbo boost because I did the thing. I did the thing. And now the day feels lighter and like more is possible. So that's, look, if you can take one or two things from today and start to see and apply them and see how they work for you, that will be huge. Does anybody have any questions yet or anything that they want to add? Okay, so the other thing, I sent you guys this this list. There's a couple I want to talk about today. We're going to talk about actual tools, and then I'm going to give you another way of looking at overwhelm and a great way to immediately clear it. So sometimes we get lost from our why, like we get disconnected from why we're doing something in the first place. Maybe because it is all overwhelming and it starts to, you know, the benefit starts to shrink as the workload gets bigger. So really starting the day off by connecting to why am I doing this in the first place? What is it about this that brought me to this point? And sometimes maybe your why is, you know what? This isn't really my thing that I'm doing, right? Maybe I'm just working a job right now. I'm working a job for money, but it's not my calling. But maybe your calling is dependent upon you having that job. Like that job is the gateway for you to have options and choices in your life. So connecting the why am I doing this job? Why am I getting up in the morning? Why am I dealing with this stress? Or why am I is because I have a big picture. And that big picture needs me to show up. I'm financing the big picture through my job. This isn't the end. This isn't the destination. This is a tool. And you will almost certainly find that most of the people that you may look up to, either in business or in the arts or anything, will talk about this very thing. Lisa Nichols, I don't know if you guys know who Lisa Nichols is, but she's a motivational speaker. She was in The Secret. She's just amazing. But she talks about how she actually worked like 2 jobs and was building her business. And she, every time she got extra money, had like some extra, she would write a check to herself, to her savings account, because she wanted to she wanted to have that kinesthetic aspect of writing it out, right? You know, the physical writing that check to put in her savings for her business. And then she would mail the check to her bank. And in the memo, she put something like, for the big dream or something like that. And she did this for like, I think 2 years. And then one day she went into the bank and all of a sudden the tellers realized who she was. And they were like, it's the big dream lady. It's the big dream lady. Because they had been getting these deposits. And she finally had the money to actually start the business that she wanted. And she was one of the first people to ever take that type of business and go public. She has just blown up, but she explained to the tellers what she was doing, that she was building for this. And she talked about, like, her office was in a closet in her house. And she just put that work into it. Sometimes, look, sometimes we're in a period of building, right? There's a lot of misconception around ideas like The Secret, right? People come away from The Secret and they go, okay, so I just sit on my couch and I think about money, and then checks will show up in my mailbox, right? But that's not really what it's meant to be taught. That's not what it meant. I think there was something that fell off in the translation. But the idea is, if you do the work, your only job is to do the work and hold the vision and hold your why. And then allow opportunities to come, allow things to come, don't block them. And there's a lot of building in the beginning, but that building is necessary. And there's a lot of people that are talking about, manifesting in the terms of, like, you just come up with an idea and then you meditate on it and you get your crystals and you sit there, and then, your dream life shows up. They knock on the door and go, oh, we heard you were manifesting and here's your, but nobody that's successful has ever done that. But I'll tell you, when you are doing the work and you're like, nothing's happening yet, but, like, I see it and I'm staying connected to my vision and I'm staying connected to the why I want to do this. And I'm doing the work and doing the work and doing the work and doing the work. When that first knock on the door shows up, when that first sprout comes through the soil, those things, believe it or not, are some of the biggest, most rewarding moments. Bigger than, like, even bigger checks down the road or bigger deals or bigger opportunities, because you started from nothing and you created. And a lot of times I think that people quit before they get to that part, or they build resentment. The big one too is building resentment. Why? I'm working so hard. Why is nothing happening? Why is nothing working? Why is nothing coming together? And the energy of that goes out into the world, and it will block things from being able to come your way. And it's normal, right? There's nothing wrong with you if you feel that way. You're not a bad person, or you're not stupid, or you're not getting it's sometimes we can get exhausted, we can get tired. So it's really important for you to have ways that you experience joy and connection while you're doing this, even if it's for small periods of time. Like I said, even if it's sometimes, if there's a lot going on, sometimes I might go outside multiple times a day, or I might go lay with my dog for 10 minutes and just get my face licked and rub his ears and hang out and breathe together and just remember my why. When I moved into this place, I always dreamed of having a ranch. I always dreamed of having my horses where I was. I always dreamed of being able to, like, go outside and be in nature. And I was so stoked when I moved in here that I was up every day at 5 a.m., like, just flying out of bed, just getting my coffee and going outside and like looking around and hearing the birds and being able to see the horses right there the feeling and like the peace and this just amazing wonderment at where I was. And then over the course of years, that faded. And I started to see what was wrong with the house or what I didn't have right or how hot the summers are here or all that needs to be done and it's just me. And you know, I lost the amazing position I was in because I stopped connecting to my why and how I was here and how great that was. And I think that that's a human thing. Like things become normalized, right? We get these big dreams and then it's only a matter of time before our big dream is like, okay, you know, what's next? Because now I want that and so having the gratitude and reconnecting to what you have now is so important. And when I do that now, it just gets me so excited, especially because you can imagine in California, like there's so much wealth and there's so much stuff. So it's so easy to be like that house and that place that I was so stoked to have is like, well, it's, you know, it's kind of small and it's, you know, the neighborhood's not as nice as other neighborhoods. And maybe people, you know, will think it's crappy or it's just so easy to get into that kind of mentality. But it's also pretty easy to pull yourself out. So I want to take a break for a second and I just want to ask, does anybody have some things that are happening in their life right now where they feel overwhelmed around and they're trying to figure out how to deal with it? Because sometimes talking about specifics can make these ideas a little bit more palatable. So does anybody want to bounce some ideas around?
I have a bunch going on, so if nobody else is ready to jump, I am.
I was staring at you, Colleen. I couldn't tell, but I was like,
Yeah, so you. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm working on so many transitions in my life, from dealing with living with an alcoholic and trying to get out of that situation, and selling the farm that I have so I can move into the next one, and selling the business and building that I have so I can get into the ranch where I want to be and move across the country and switch everything I'm doing onto a hybrid online type of work, and learning all of the techie side of things, which is not easy for me. So I feel overwhelmed basically within the first 3 hours of every day, because I start to do something and then something comes up where I don't understand it and I can't figure it out. And it's like, oh, okay. And then everything piles on and I just sit on the couch. So yeah.
mm-hmm. Okay. And then like, and I've been there, right? And then you sit on the couch and then you're like, oh, all right, I just can't deal with it right now. And it feels good for a few minutes to sit on the couch. But then you know that the longer you sit on the couch, that time is getting eaten up. It's eating up your time that you already feel like you don't have enough of.
Yep. Yeah. And then the guilt comes on, and then I should be doing something, but I can't do something. I should do this, but I can't do it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Are you journaling at all?
I am, to a point. I'm doing courses, so they have journaling things in it. So it's not necessarily. So yeah, I guess I'm journaling with the homework that they give me, but not personally.
So is the homework specific types of journaling? Like, are they saying like journal about this or a journal about, okay. So just here's an idea, right? And this is something I found to be helpful, to be really helpful, actually. Doesn't take everything away, but these are all tools that help, right? Journal before you go to bed. It can be a couple paragraphs. You don't have to do this for any set amount of time. But journal what's sitting on your head. And even if it's a big wah session, right? Even if it's all the like poor me stuff, get it on the page. Because it's in there, right? And by getting it on the page, believe it or not, you're taking some of that weight out of your mind and putting it down on the paper. And then do it again in the morning when you first get up. Kind of like if anybody's read The Artist's Way, they do morning pages. Now she makes you do 3 full pages of, oh my gosh, what do they call that, Jane? The unconscious writing. What is, do you remember? It's basically, you're not supposed to think about it.
Yeah, it's like free form writing.
Writing, right. So what you do is you just write whatever. It could be, yesterday I had pizza for lunch and today I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch. And, you know, it could be just the most inane stuff. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm telling you what this is based on. And what it does is it actually helps clear the chatter. It clears that static of the crap that's just buzzing around your brain. I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like almost like a TV that can't get an actual channel. It's just zipping through channels and it's not clear, and the buzzing in my head. So by doing this, it takes away that buzzing. It dials it down. So now, do you have things, Colleen, that you avoid doing? I
Yeah,
know the
basically
answer. We all do that.
anything I'm not really good at and have to have a huge learning curve. Like those are the things I'm like, yeah, it takes a lot for me to get on and do the techie stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else other than the learning the techie stuff that you avoid, that you don't like doing?
For the most part, that's it. There's other things that I just feel so drained that they're hard to do, more the physical stuff, but that's more of just because I'm so drained from everything that's weighing on me that stuff becomes really hard. But it's more the techie stuff is the techie stuff, financial stuff, the stuff that really makes me stress out. Those are the things I really avoid.
Okay. Okay. So what is your expectation of yourself? Do you think you have a realistic expectation of yourself in learning this and getting to the point where you're proficient at it, that you're putting all of this together and getting it done?
I don't really know. Like I have half of me knows that I can figure it out and I will. And the other half of me is like, you can't do this shit. This is not for you. Like you just don't get this. This is not who you are. You don't do techie stuff. So it's kind of like that battle of sometimes I'm like, yeah, I've got this. I just have to spend some time. And then the other side is like, just give up. You don't have this.
Okay. Okay. So, because put it this way, like, so if we were in school and we were taking class, the class would be broken down into reasonable modules that we would learn, because you're going to building blocks per se, right? You're going to learn this. Once you have this down, we're going to add this. Once you have this down, we're going to add that. Now, as adults, we have like this feeling or outlook at times, like I need this done yesterday. And so I'm behind, right? That's a big one. Feeling like you're out of time, feeling like you're behind everyone else, or you should have done this 2 years ago. You missed the curve, you missed everything, and now you're scrambling. I saw a deep breath just happen right there. So.
Yep, because I feel like I'm behind all the time, and yeah.
So one of the mantras that I have, and this was from Eckhart Tolle, who I love, is I have all the time in the world. There is all the time I need to get this done. I am right on time, right where I'm at. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I want you to think of this, another deep breath. How does it feel to think that you're exactly where you're supposed to be? Like you have the time you need.
Yeah. On one side, it's good. It kind of takes off the pressure of having to learn it right now because I'm behind. On the
Right.
other side, I'm like, I don't want to be here. So it's kind
Right.
of like,
But
it's that other side of it, like where I don't want to be here in this stage of my life anymore. I'm done with this stage. I want to get out. So it's, yeah.
so then you get to the place of resistance. Remember I was saying like there's the one of the biggest things that drains us is the idea that I shouldn't be here, that this shouldn't be happening, that this was not what I wanted or not my vision. And I tell you, we all will get to that place at some point in time. The pressure will get to a point, even no matter how good we might be, we just haven't maybe got to the amount of pressure that can happen to where it starts to be like, what the hell? Like, I've worked so hard and how am I here? And this isn't fair. And how come other people and how come I'm on my own and all of it. But that's the piece I'm telling you, that's the piece that drains you the most. And it's the hardest part because sometimes we've used that as fuel. We can believe that our anxiety or our frustration or our anger, that we need it because that's what that voice and that feeling is what gets me going when I have to do stuff. But think about how not like our perfect scenario of what we want to create that is. Like, who would want to actually create a life or a business or anything based on the idea that I have to have anger and frustration or anxiety in order to motivate myself to do the things that I need to do to make this happen? Well, but that's not what your vision was. That wasn't your why. That wasn't the original you. So what you build now, you're only going to get more of as you get more successful in it. You're not going to feel like you can let go of that once it's really running, because that will be how you set it up. Does that make sense?
Does. Yeah.
So sometimes, well, I would say in my experience, every time I'm in a painful place because things shouldn't be this way, or how come I still have to work this hard, or any of those things, why don't I have support? You know, I see people who have partners or people around them that are so supportive, and I'm here, you know, huffing and puffing on my own. So addressing that part. So the question is, how do we do that? Right? How do we do that? And understanding that we can have a vision, and we should have a vision. You know, we should have an idea of where we want to be, where we want to go, what we want to create. Think about the people you're going to serve. Think about what you're going to bring into the world, or what you are bringing, what you'll be able to do better for other people. So what you're doing is needed, but you're also an important piece. So your evolution and your learning as a human, as part of the bigger picture, is integral to what you're also bringing to the world. So you're doing your personal work as you're bringing your work into the world. And a lot of times, the way through, the way to that is through the fire. Like we have to walk through our own stuff. And the universe, it is like a pit bull sometimes with things that it will just keep giving you the same thing over and over again until you finally get that lesson, until you finally see it as a choice of yours, that you are the creator of your own life. And look, we can create diabolical situations that on the outside for sure look like they don't look like we created it. And a lot of the pieces maybe we didn't create, but they were an accumulation. The energy that we went in with. And it's not like we're bad or damaged or wrong. This was just the program that we got, maybe from our family of origin, that they got from their parents, that they got from their parents. This is all passed down. Now we have an operating system that we're using, but we have evolved in a way where we have bigger plans and bigger ideas than that family of origin, or different plans. We're going in a different direction, but our program is still set. So we have to deal with the program. What you resist persists. What you resist persists. So if you resist having to do work because you feel like I've already worked enough, or other places that aren't anywhere near as good as what I put together are just humming along, and here I am, like feeling like I'm starting at day one every day, that disconnects you from your power. It disconnects you from the universe to be able to bring you more people, more energy, more opportunities. Because think about it, what energy do we like to be around? Do we like to be around resentful energy, or energy that feels frustrated, or energy that feels angry? Or do we like to be around energy that feels like, hey, anything's possible? Hey, look at what I got. You want some? You want to check this out? We're going to be doing this over here, whether you check it out or not, but like, do you want to come? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does.
So those things are hard, right? But they can be hard, but they can also change in an instant. That's the thing. They can change in an instant because, everyone here has experienced an epiphany at some point in their life where all of a sudden something was completely different in how we saw it than from the moment before. And we went, oh my God, that's the thing that's been happening, or that's the thing I've been doing, or that's why I did that, or that's why I thought that. And look over here. So if you can every day connect with what is right, what is good, because what I heard was you created some things in your life unconsciously that are drains on you, that have not worked well for you. And you're taking steps now to correct that. And you have options, you have opportunities, you have dreams that are actually starting to make movement happen. They may not be smooth, but they're there. And maybe by connecting to that energy and reminding yourself of what is good every day, what is working, even if all you can say today is, I have a home, I have a roof over my head, I have food in my kitchen, I am in a body that works, and the sun is shining. I'm alive today. and I don't want to miss this day. Michelle?
I just wanted to, you just made me think of something. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So much of what Colleen's talking about and what you're talking about like resonates with me so deeply, for very different reasons, Colleen, but same. And as Christine was just talking, it just reminded me of like the flat tire story where, you get a flat tire and you're like, God damn it, this stupid friggin' thing. And like, if you zoom out, there was a car accident, a 6-car pileup 2 miles down the road, and some sort of whatever your faith is, if you have faith or you don't, God, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, protected you, angels, whoever, whatever, dead family members, whatever, protected you from going that way. Or you make a left turn and you're like, why did I make a left? I'm so stupid. I always make a right. I know how to make a right. And I made a left instead. And like the flat tire story always brings me back, because what you're dealing with right now, and I'm trying to like not be like, and you too, feels so icky. And sometimes it's helpful to go, okay, what if I zoomed out, like go above like 30 feet, 30 miles up, and look at it and go, oh, sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, is what I'm saying. Like this really shitty thing that is right now, you're like, bleh. But it's like, forgive the use of the word, but like was God's only way to get you out of where you were. So yeah, it's a little bumpy, but there's little gems here too. It's like you're like in a little video game. So like you're bonking against the walls, but you keep taking the little gold stars and sticking them in your backpack because there's so many valuable lessons here. And the only way that you're going to get from point A to point B, which is where you really want to be, it's like the universe had to go, well, sorry, Colleen, but the only way we're going to get you from here to here is to bonk in a couple of walls and go crazy hills up and down. And you can't see it because you're here. Your radar screen is like this. And you're like, damn, this stupid stick sucks. You know what I mean? But up here, they're like, trust us. It's right there, And it's like, it's so much easier. I'm laughing at myself because it's so much easier to see this point when I'm talking about your stuff, Colleen. And I'm like, oh, obviously you're headed in the right direction. Obviously, this is just a bump. This is just a flat tire. This is just, I think the flat tire story, sorry, I sort of went off that, was like, guy got a flat tire and then the guy that helped him ended up connecting him to somebody or something. There was magic in the flat tire. And we forget because we get so zoned in on the reality of the problem that we can't see the bigger picture of why things are happening, because you say you want this and the universe goes, okay, but you don't get to plan the route from here to there. You just have to trust it and go, okay, I'm going, I'm there, I'm here. And Christine, thank you for mentioning the gratitude, because man, have I fucking lost sight of that.
And you're the queen of gratitude.
For Colleen, but not for me. I lost sight of it. And I'm just like, right.
But that's why I said, like, tools, this was going to be about tools maybe you don't know, but also reminding us of the tools that we do know that we just over time stop doing. I have a great story about that, Michelle. Like and Michelle was there for this because Michelle's a good friend. Years ago, I think it was like 2000, I think it was around 2017 or 2016 maybe. And I was still working at the Troubadour, bartending at the Troubadour, and we had been working on a documentary together that I had been lucky enough to be brought in on. And so that was where I was at, right? Working those two things. And I didn't have a lot of money to go and do travel or stuff like this. And one of my very good friends was getting married up in Idlewild, up in the mountains. And I had rented a cabin and I was sharing it with some people that I hadn't seen in a while. I was so stoked to see. I was so stoked for this weekend. I had taken off of work, given up some big shows that were playing because I, was going to this thing. The night before, I go to my hot yoga class, right? And I would go to hot yoga, I would shower, put on my work clothes, and go straight to the Troubadour. And I came out and it was dark, it was October, and I'm hustling down the sidewalk to get to my car. And I've got my gym bag and my water bottle and my yoga mat, and I got all this stuff. And I hit a piece of the sidewalk that had been kicked up, and I went down like a sack of rocks, and I was going down face down, and I turned really quick like this to avoid smashing my face, and I dislocated my shoulder. And so I had to go into work because there was nobody else. So I had to bartend all night with one arm while my other arm was like dangling. And I then went home and I went to Michelle and my friend Michael, and we all lived we were like Melrose Place, lived in the same little community, in the same little apartments. And I went to their house and I sat on their couch and I cried tears of fury and frustration that the universe had done this to me, that I was, I'm going to lose out on this cabin. I can't get my money back. I'm going to lose out on work. And I was just in pain, and I just sat there. I was like the most crying moment, mad at the world. And that next day, and I didn't have health insurance. And so that next day I was like, well, what am I going to do? I know my arm is screwed. So I found a chiropractor on Yelp that had the best reviews. He was right down the street. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to do that because I can't afford to go to the emergency room or anything like that. So I go there, love this guy. Yep, popped my shoulder back in, did PT with him. Everything was great. Probably maybe a year later, I had restarted my hypnotherapy practice. I was determined. I had done all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm actually finally taking action. I went back to that chiropractor and I said, hey, I don't know if you know I'm a hypnotherapist, but I'm right down the street and I would like to give you my card and offer you some free hypnotherapy because he was like, oh, I love hypnotherapy. I've done it before. It's so great. So I was like, yeah, well, I want to give you a few free sessions because honestly, you're not going to refer your clients to someone that you don't know if you can trust. So you need to come, and no worries if it doesn't work out. Well, he came, and then he became my biggest client referral. And he sent his clients to me. He sent his workers to me, his employees. He sent family members. He sent friends. I would have never had that if I hadn't fallen and dislocated my shoulder and missed out on it. It would have never happened. And sometimes that was a year later. And it was another year before it was really clear how pivotal he was, because that built my confidence. That is what had me go and put my resume in at Passages in Malibu. That is what made my career take off, was him. So up close, it looked like all was lost, right? Like, this is terrible. This is terrible. But in hindsight, that was the universe going, sorry, but, right? You're going to fall down. You have to go. You have to be able to even redirect after. Look, it's fine to have a temper tantrum. It's fine to cry it out. It's fine to feel your feelings. That's important, right? We don't want to bypass how we feel. But when you're done, Now it's up to you to redirect. Now it's up to you to reframe. And honestly, mostly I see people stay on their path to greatness through pain. Because that's the tool the universe has. Like when you start going off in the wrong direction, you're focused on the wrong things. Pain is what makes you adjust your route. It's what makes you change direction. And people will and then the other side is that people will overemphasize things, right? Oh my God, pain. What does this mean? It means I'm completely on the wrong path. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Gosh, now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Look, Kathy Price and I, if you guys know, you may or may not know Kathy Price, but Kathy Price and I did a Bali retreat last year. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. And we were so excited to do it again this year. But guess what? I'm about to make an announcement in the next day or two. We're going to have to cancel it this year and move it to 2026. But what's crazy about that is it's for one of the most amazing reasons that I would have never thought of happening. And when she and I sat and talked about it, it was her, I was going to reschedule. She said, we could, if you want, we could cancel. And as soon as she said that, as soon as I held the idea of canceling, it was like every cell in my body was like, that's what you're supposed to do. It's not what you want to do per se. It's not what like your conscious mind believes that you should do, but that feels like that's what's supposed to happen. And I have to trust that. It's having that trust in the universe, but in yourself, because you are the universe, right? You're on that path. You're on that same wavelength. We just get in the way. Jane?
Yeah, you sort of took the words out of my mouth in terms of like surrendering to certain circumstances that may at first, or they just seemed not what you want to do. They weren't in your vision, short term, long term, whatever. And I'm in a particular situation right now where I'm having to move my horse to a place that's a big question of a unknown. And I'm not, to be honest, I'm not happy about it. But then I really fight with myself. And the moments I let go and just say, just go with this, be open to the possibilities and don't prejudge it. Yes, there may on the surface seem to be certain things that are scaring the crap out of you about putting him in a particular situation. I mean, not that he would be in danger. Comparatively, he'll just, I'm thinking he'll have less freedom and he'll be unhappy, but I don't know that. So it's a big leap of faith for me in the next month to let go of this predisposed judgment I have on a situation and be open to why this is happening. Could it lead to other amazing things? Maybe I'll meet particular people who will then lead to this, that, and the other thing. So it is, I know I have the agency to either go one way or the other with it. And I do almost daily have to bring myself back to, yeah, I'm making a choice. I'm making a conscious choice to go with being open to this and just leave it at that. But it's hard. It's very hard.
What if we thought of it this way? I'm going to add another layer to it. What if you're going to a place that maybe you don't see the benefit or you don't really understand why you have to do that, but it's not even for your benefit? what if there's someone at that place that needs to meet you? What if there's somebody at that place
Mm.
that their path needs you in it?
Yeah, I love that.
And maybe ultimately it won't be a great place for your horse, right? Maybe sometimes like this stuff happens and yeah, it's not that, but there are other things that it does do.
Right.
And so, and then you can maybe you get linked to like a different,
Right.
it's even better because it's new people and maybe I had it where a person that was at the barn that I was at then got their own place and I was able to move my horse to the place that they bought, which was better.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kate?
So in your you're in Boston, Jane, is that, or near Boston?
Yeah. Yes.
So there's a thing for you to look into. I don't know, since you're in that transition process. I don't know if you've heard of the Humble Hoof podcast. So Alicia Harlov is based in your area, and she is a very, very good resource if you need one. And she's in Massachusetts. So she does equine boarding on a track system, and she does rehabilitation on feet. So she's a really
Alicia who? What's her last
Alicia
name?
Harlov is her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Just
name to this, Jane, and look.
Right. I know. No, that's super resource. Thank you, Kate.
you're
Awesome.
welcome. Yeah.
Kate is
Yeah,
a
she's
resource for just about everything. So if anybody has any questions, I'll direct them at Kate.
Can I just say that what we're witnessing in real time is everything we were just saying? The
Mhm.
frustration, all the things you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then it's like, I don't know, you just were meant to be on the call and Kate was meant to tell you the thing, and now you're gonna meet this woman. And I don't know. I just have a lot of faith, and it's helpful to watch it happen in real time for other people. I needed the reminder. So thank you to you and the universe. Is all I'm saying.
yeah, it's been a crazy struggle since Bali for me. I went on Christine's retreat to Bali and I just want to go back.
Mhm.
Like
So I.
it's been quite a whirlwind since I got back because I'm working full time, and I have horses and the horses keep multiplying. I have 11 at my house, including a young thoroughbred stallion who is amazing. He's a rehabilitation case and he had a bowed tendon off the track. He never did get to start. But I have a big prospects for him in terms of trying to put together a team for Retired Racehorse Project 2025. So I'm going to try to get a collaboration between a whole bunch of professionals to campaign this horse for that competition. So, and that's just one of my many projects that that's not even on my list.
Right, of course. Of course.
But yeah, but Alicia Harlov, you'll love her. She has probably 2 or 3 years worth of podcasts, and every single podcast in terms of the content is amazing. I found my hoof trimming mentor through that podcast. She's interviewed a whole bunch of different modalities in body work, and then different people doing track system setups. So really good
I put
resource for you.
her website in the
Yeah,
chat.
awesome, cool.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I know we had started talking with Colleen about the idea of breaking things down. That is one of the biggest challenges, I think, when you have, I've probably got a dozen things on my list. And the thing is that when they say, oh, put them in order of priority, they're all needing to be done yesterday. So I have 12 things. So there's no way that I can do 12 full things yesterday. So the only thing that I can do is I can pick which thing I'm going to work on. And it might be 2 of them. It might be multiple. I might have a few calls in there. So what I'm saying is that I have to make a list every single day. I have to sit down. I have to make a list every single day of what I'm going to get done that day. Because typically, I think I can get more done in a day than I can. And so I set myself up, right, Nancy? I set myself up to fail because I'm like, oh, I could do this, this, this. And I take out things like showering and eating, or, you know, just the time it takes to be alive. And I think that I can just do all of this stuff. So because you're not running out of things to do, it's better to chunk it down to be like, okay, so there's these 3 calls. Maybe I have to call my doctor and schedule my yearly physical, right? That's been on my list, but I've been pushing that off. But that's something that I can take off my list. So maybe what I do is I do the things I don't want to do first in the morning. I kind of think, Colleen, I can't help but think that maybe the learning stuff would be secondary to the actionable business stuff or other things that you're working on first in the morning, only because that's learning. I don't know, you have to do what you feel is how your brain works best, because we're all different, right? But you need to also put it into a context of what is logical. An hour, like spending an hour on this a day, 2 hours. If I spend 2 hours, is that too much time? And then I'm running around trying to catch my tail and feeling even more in the hole after. How much time can I put towards it? The other question is, do I have anyone or access to anyone that could actually help me with this? For free, even. Look, I know teenagers that love doing this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and some friggin' 14-year-old can come and run rings around you, and you're like, really? Like, but there are options, especially if you have horses, right? I talked to a young lady who is great at marketing and all social media stuff, and like wanted to be around horses. She didn't live close by. It didn't work out that way, but like that's an option, right? Well, help me with this, and then you can come and hang out with the horses. Like, you don't even need to do stuff. Like, people get a lot out of being around horses, whether they're riding them or not. So I know it's still work. It's still stuff, but try to think outside. We can really get into the mindset of like, I'm the only one I can rely on. It's only me. It's always only me. Like, I'd just rather do it myself because other people just screw things up. You're laughing, Michelle? And and the problem with that is that you're right. As long as you believe that, it will always be only you. You will never have any help, and you will always feel unsupported. And sometimes it takes a little extra work to get that work. And then we can have conversations in our head happening about that. But that extra work to get the work actually lightens our load. So create a daily list of what you want to get done that day. As you get the things done, cross them off, put stars next to them, whatever you do, look at the things that you did at the end of the day. If there's anything that didn't get done, bring it over to the next day's list. Maybe make that the eat the frog thing in the morning, depending, right? and then make a list for that day, but do it first thing in the morning before the overwhelm kicks in, before the like you start putting your hands on 50 things and not really doing much of anything. Sometimes it's good to do it the night before. But the list is always helpful. And I have worked with people that resist this. I hate lists. They're just things that make me feel like I'm inadequate because I don't get the stuff done. They're like staring at me. That then loved their list. They saw the list as actually helpful. So try, especially if you work from home, try to mitigate distractions. And look, I will actually, my daughter knows, like we will make times that we will go meet at a coffee shop or we'll meet somewhere to get work done because I'm looking out the window. There's a chicken that needs my help, right? Like I see that the gate wasn't closed right, or everything will be fine if I am not here. But if I'm here, I am constantly distracted. I have this great big window right here in front of me in my office. And all I do is go, oh crap, like that. So sometimes you have to get out of your environment to be able to focus. So if that's the case, then do that. Like set yourself up to be able to do this. So maybe go to a coffee shop, maybe go to the library, go somewhere, go to a park and go, I'm going to go here for 2 hours so I can focus and I can get at least this done in a clear stream of consciousness without any interruptions. Always connect to your why. Write your why down. Write different aspects of your why every week and have that be the thing that this week I'm looking at. Have inspirational stuff. Listen to inspirational people. You cannot only be an output without having input. Of course you'll feel drained. Of course you'll end up at a place where it feels like there's just not enough of anything. So find inspiring people. Hear people that have been in your situation and how they've worked through it or created or shifted. Get support. It's so important. And look, if it can't be in a one-on-one way, we have a plethora of ways to get support through books on tape, podcasts, groups like this. There are so many ways to get support. You have to fill your cup and you have to be re-inspired. Because just like when I moved into this place, I was so inspired by everything. It fades. So we have to reconnect to that inspiration. And sometimes if we're having trouble with our own, we then need to listen to somebody else because then it connects us back in. Kate?
So this morning I was definitely feeling overwhelmed, and I took my little I got one of the really small incense burners from the gentleman that was sitting outside of our villa, and I lit my incense and I just sat outside and fidgeted until it finished burning. But you just gotta do things sometimes. But I took that minute, I sat out in nature, I watched the bees and our really weedy garden right now. But there are flowers too. There's weeds and flowers. But yeah, I just took a few minutes to kind of try to center myself. And it was a good use of time. Even though it felt like a waste of time, it was a good use.
Right. And that's exactly what I was saying earlier about like taking that time to reconnect. One thing that I do want to say about this too is have my notes here. When you get like you feel like you're so overwhelmed, that you're so deep in it, go out and do something for someone else. Bye, Christina. Go out and do something for someone else. I don't care if it's buying a cup of coffee for the person behind you in line, if it's helping somebody with their bags, take food that you're not going to eat down to a church or a soup kitchen. Do something for others that gives no obvious benefit to yourself, because here's what I'm going to tell you. There's a thing called the helper's high. And the helper's high is the rush of endorphins that your brain gets when we as people help each other. I bet you Michelle felt amazing being able to share with Colleen. Like that probably made her feel great to be able to add that, right? I bet that Kate felt great to be able to have something to share with Jane for somebody in her area that may be able to help. Like, this is who we are. We're connected. And when we can help others, it helps us too. In fact, the act of helping others by Dr. Alan Luck says the act of helping others, the people who are doing the helping receive profound physiological and psychological benefits. Helping others can give the same kind of relief from stress that meditation gives, if not more. If not more. So that is a great way to handle overwhelm, because overwhelm is an over-focus sometimes on ourselves to begin with, right? We're over-focused on the importance of every move and every decision we make. We're over-focused on how much each of these things that we're weighing actually matter. And if we can just get out of our head for a minute, everything can kind of get back into perspective. Another thing that's on that list that I shared with you guys, lessons, not failures. Lessons, not failures. So again, it's that redirect. And look, I have memes. I have memes about I'm done with the lessons, right? Like, but it's not up to us. Like, life is not about coasting along and being comfortable. It's about pushing and stretching. And look, there's a balance between being over-focused on accomplishment. You know, a lot of people are talking about, oh my gosh, we live in this world where everyone's so focused on accomplishment. We need to slow down. We need to take stock of what we have. We need, get out of the accomplishment mindset. But I don't think it's an all or nothing thing. I think it's a balance. I think that we are here to create. We are here to help each other. We are here to do and be involved and growing and experiencing and evolving. But too much on that, we lose our life. We're not connected to our life anymore. The days are only about what did I get done? Well, Brene Brown talks about this other woman who in her research said that, especially in the US, the last thought that people have before they go to bed is, I didn't get enough done today. And the first thought that they have when they wake up in the morning is, I didn't sleep enough last night. Didn't get enough sleep. Didn't get enough done, didn't get enough sleep. Didn't get enough done, didn't get enough sleep. Over and over again. It's like, no wonder that we are like burning the candle at both ends. You You control how you feel about your day, not your day. You decide how you feel about your life and your situation, not your life and your situation. And believe me, we have enough evidence to know how lucky and grateful we are in this world for what we have right now. Instead of looking sideways or up at people that we feel have more or are doing better, we need to connect with what we actually have compared to the billions of people who don't have what we have, that don't even have clean running water. And not at all to feel guilty, not at all to feel bad about that, but to feel blessed, to feel so fortunate that we get to have problems creating our own business. Oh my God, we're able to create our own business. Like, we get to have struggles making our dreams come true. That's a privilege. And it's not for everyone. But the things that you do in your life, whether you're volunteering, whether you're just helping in your community, whether you're working a job or whether you're building a business or whether you're creating something completely new in the world, all of it is a piece of the whole. It all matters. So self-reflection to identify blocks. We kind of talked about that, right? When you feel stuck, when you feel things are coming up, they're negative, try to figure out where they're coming from and see if you can release them. Bless you. Yeah, listen to what you need. Listen to your needs and intuition. So listen to what you need. If you need to go outside, if you need a break, if you just spent 2 hours learning stuff on the computer and you feel like mentally exhausted, go get something to eat, go outside, go do something that can kind of think of it as like a clearing. That you need that though. That's not wasted time. So the reframing, you're constantly reframing. And I sent you guys this stuff. I'm going to send you guys the other stuff too about the helper's high. I think that also one of the things that might be a part of my talk I'm working on, but I want to talk about too, is the idea of what we do to help others. Now, I know some of the people that are on here are only able to listen today, so they're not able to maybe jump in, but I would like everybody that is on, can you give one example of either something you continue to do or something you have done where you helped others, whether it's physically helped, donated money that made you feel good to a cause? Because I want you to reconnect to that for a minute. And I think what's really important is that people understand that there is nothing wrong. In fact, it's really good to talk about the good things that you've done and how great it was. because when somebody talks about that, I get excited. Like I can feel the feelings almost that they're talking about, like how good that felt. It makes me want to go and do things too. It reminds me of why I want to be in a position to be able to donate more money. You know, I want to be in a position to be able to help more and not just focusing on me personally. And that actually inspires other people. I see, you know, I think especially people who have a lot and they donate and they do things, and then you'll see thousands of people come in and judge them and weigh what they did, and or say like, oh, if they really wanted to give, then they would do it anonymously, but this is for their ego because look, we all know about it. It's, and you know, it's, this is the world we live in now, where people are trying to feel better about themselves by judging other people, not by what they do, by what their opinions are. So in my experience, hearing what people do makes me feel good about people, right? Like people are doing good things for each other. That makes me feel good about other people. I don't want to just hear about all the negative stuff that constantly gets perpetuated. I want to hear about the good things that people are doing. I don't think it makes them bad people that people know that they're doing good things. So who wants to go first? Tell me something good that you did that made you feel good for doing it. Nancy? Oh, wait, let's see. You got to unmute. There you go.
This is very apropos. The person who I have gone to have my nails done for years and years and years, suddenly her husband is and she's Vietnamese. Suddenly her husband decided he doesn't want to be in the marriage anymore. And she's got 2 kids. She, I never knew her backstory before coming to the US, but she's got real abandonment issues. So this is certainly playing into that. Anyway, so this morning she's figured out she doesn't want to fight anymore. And so I actually called the local bank that I have a connection to. And I said, there's this person that's going to come in. She doesn't have a credit card. She's always paid for everything in cash. She's got no credit history. She is terrified what's going to happen to her. And so this morning we got her signed up for a savings account. We got her signed up for a checking account. You know, and I don't know where it's going to go. I'm going to be traveling a lot in August. I told her, you can come babysit my house while I'm gone. You know, get out of there. And you're absolutely right. It made me feel good that I've been through some crazy shit. And as a result of that, I've learned a lot. And I can take that learning and pass it on to somebody else that might need it.
I love that. I love that. And I feel good hearing that, right? Like I feel good hearing. I mean, I only made it because of angels like you, Nancy, like people who saw me as a single mom and you know, at times of crisis stepped up and gave me some little thing that just got me to the next lily pad.
You know, she's got no self-confidence. She's got no self-esteem. And, you know, and it's going to take a long time to get that built up in her. But, you know, this little chat here today would be wonderful for her to
Well,
listen.
it's gonna be recorded so you can share it with her
Yeah,
after.
because right now she is totally overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why we have to, and you also, what's really important too is to recognize what you have control over and what you don't. And you have to let go of the things that you don't. Because like in her case, she has no control over her husband wanting to leave. And trying to control that is just going to drain her and make her feel less in control and less confident. So it's important to let go of the things that you don't have control over. Thank you for sharing that, Nancy. Who's next? Separate it. Come on, Tom and Sonia. I know you two have stuff. Let's go.
So, kind of brings me back to Warwick Schiller has the list of questions that he asks people on a podcast. And I think about those a bunch. One of them that is, what would you share with the world? And my response to that would be, and this, I'm getting to what I did, is that there is no limit to the amount of good you can do in this world if you don't care who gets the credit. And I'm not against having credit for what I do or anybody else getting credit, but if you could do something without that end in mind. So like more than 25 years ago, when we were still in Colorado for Sonia's schooling, I threw out an idea and started a program in the local experimental aviation chapter that we had, that each year the chapter would pick a person who had been instrumental in the chapter and had certain criteria. And this was aimed at some, in particular, a few of the older guys there that were not going to be around much longer. And so each year we'd pick one of these people with all the criteria, and they would get recognition and an award. And I never got any credit for that. Nobody remembers that I'm the one that started that. But as far as I know, to this day, that chapter is still doing that. So these guys really deserve some recognition. Get a pat on the back, because I think I don't want to go to your funeral and say, oh, what a great person this was. I want to say, this is a great person now, and you get some credit while you're still alive so you can appreciate it. So.
Well, yeah, look, what you did was amazing. And the fact that it's still going, like you started something that is still going, that's for you, Tom. You don't need anybody to remember that or know that. You know it.
Yeah.
And that's where the good feelings come from. And I think the thing with what Warwick was saying was, there's a difference between, like, if I was like, I'm going to go out and buy somebody a coffee today, just buy the guy behind me a coffee and just pay it forward that way and just feel good about that. I'm going to go and hide in the corner and just like watch it happen. Like, cause I love that part too. Right. What, huh? What do you mean you don't need my money? Like the whole thing, like, I love it. That, like, getting that high, that feedback, that's awesome. I did that at like Rite Aid gives the thrifty ice cream. Like I saw this family come in and they were like, Mom, can I get 2 scoops? No, we can only get 1 scoop, you know, and they clearly like didn't seem like they were doing all that great. So I'd like paid for their ice cream. So then I'm hiding in the aisles, waiting to see them go up, and I'm hearing them all like going, I don't understand, you know, like, and then they were laughing and floating out of the right, like they were just like, what just happened? It was like, it was so cool. I love that. Now, if I sat at, I don't know, some famous persons or some person in power's coffee shop and waited for them and then tried to get in line in front of them so that I could buy their coffee, so that then I could be like, oh, I bought your coffee, and, you know, try to strike up a conversation because that would benefit me. That's different, right? That's doing something that's not really for the other person. It's really for you. But feeling the feeling and owning that feeling of having done something that gave a positive impact to someone else, that's a gift. That's beautiful. Imagine if we were all high on that and we just went out every day to be like, I want to get high again on giving something to somebody that is unexpected and makes their day. Imagine a world like that. Would you think we'd be like, yeah, but you felt good about it, so you just did it for yourself. It's so stupid.
So another thing that we have done on our trip, while we stayed with Robin Wagaman, and hopefully you follow her on Facebook, we built a shelter on the great big outdoor arena there at the Regenerative Ranch. And that shelter now is being used. And every day, we just talked to Robin yesterday or day before on the phone. And she says every day she goes out, she looks at that and some of the other things that we did while we were there. Says, oh man, I'm so grateful for this.
Of course.
They adopted a herd of donkeys to help with the regeneration of the ranch, and those donkeys and a Mustang or two are living in that shelter that we built. It's really cool to see it.
Sonia, was your arm still messed up then, or were you out there cutting wood?
Oh, she was right there. Yep.
We did it as a team. Yep. It was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was fun when it wasn't screaming windy or storming,
Right.
actually.
Yeah.
When we stayed with JP and Lisa, one of the things that we noticed was JP was never taking his trailer off of his truck. Well, while one day while he was driving around, more than a year ago, the tailgate came down on his truck while he was pulling the trailer, and when he went around a corner, it hit and destroyed the jack that jacks up the trailer so you can take the trailer off. So he'd been driving around for almost a year without being able to take the trailer off. I had him order the parts and I fixed it for him. And after well, that first day we take off the trailer, he was so happy. He's sending posts of, look how much gas mileage I'm getting now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See, you guys are like little fairies going from place to place, just making people's lives a little bit better.
You need to write a book.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's working on it.
you know who Tanya Kindersley is?
Yeah.
Oh, so about a month ago, she posts up, says, hey, Write for Your Life group. We're going to start a new group. And this is all free. Anybody wants to get in, jump on in and have writing coaching.
Mhm.
So I signed up and Tanya is now my coach.
That's amazing. She's an amazing writer.
Yeah.
That's
Long ago, I remember sitting around with Sonia's family saying one of the things I wanted to do with my life was to start writing. And one of the reasons for that was because it's really hard for me. And as much as a lot of people hate Facebook, I've come to love it because Facebook is my gym. That's where I go to work out in my writing world. And I didn't make every day, but when we were on the trip, and I still do post, try to post every day on our trip about what we were doing. And it's building my writing skills. And I have some of the most incredible stories ever.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
That's so awesome too. I agree.
Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing that. There's a lot but I mean, you must feel so good about doing all those things. Does anybody else have good things that they did for others they want to
I'll
share?
share a brief thing. So I teach people writing, but it's sort of, looking at the horse-human relationship first on the ground and then under saddle. It's integrating a lot of stuff. It's not just learning how to post or go over a jump. And there's this one girl who reached out to me last fall and it just didn't work. She's she's far away from me. And then her stepmom reached out again to me recently and said, look, we really, if you can come up and just see what you think. She has a thoroughbred who's pretty hot. The girl is very capable, but has just gone through a number of trainers and different 4-H programs, et cetera, et cetera. And when I teach, I have a flat fee, and it really doesn't, like, I don't care if it takes twice as long, and maybe I should in the long run, whatever. I'm really focused on being in the service of the person in the moment in terms of what is needed. And so I started working with them, and it is incredibly delightful. Her horse is pretty difficult, but I get him and I get the girl. And the other day, they're often just emailing me or texting me afterwards saying, the amount of, like, no one's been able to capture her attention as much as what you're doing with her and her horse. So much so to the point where I felt horrified, but happy, I guess, at the same time, that we were doing a leading exercise and I didn't realize that her horse had actually sort of inadvertently sort of sidestepped onto her foot. And she thought she had broken her toe, but she was so riveted with what we were doing and what I was saying and the progress her horse was making, that, I basically, it was a hot muggy day and I basically said, we can be done with this. And she only told me afterward, I really need to take my boot off immediately and go in the house and ice it. Can you take the horse? And so her stepmom texted me later. She said she didn't want to tell you because she was so captivated with what you were doing and how much you were giving, how much she was getting out of this. Like, she put her pain aside. And I often have lessons like that with them where I don't care about the time. I don't care that I may be technically losing money. Their progress and their connection to what they're doing is so much more rewarding than anything else. And I have a few other clients like that as well, where it doesn't matter about the time. And at the end of the day, I know that they have gotten a tremendous amount out of the work that we've done, even for them personally. So, I walk away high. I walk away completely with an endorphin boost because I know it's not just giving it sort of, it's not pushing the needle just sort of on a skill level, but it's making someone's world better through that process. So, that's why I keep coming back to it, primarily. And so, yeah, anyway.
Is this a relatively new line of work for you?
Yeah, in the last, I want to say 12-ish months.
Okay.
I had to get my certification in Massachusetts to be an instructor, which I, did, and then basically put my word out there, et cetera, as being, fairly different than what I offer, something different than a lot of people offer in this area. So I have, a handful of very dedicated people that range in age and horse personality and ability. And I love it. I love it because I know I'm giving a quality of, I'm improving their quality of relationship with their horse and who they are as a person. It's not just about the sport. So anyway, that's sort of where I'm at with addressing the question.
So I ask you that because I think there's something important in here, which is when you even talk about it, it's so clear that you absolutely love what you do. And you mention about possibly losing money or going over in time. And I think that when we're first doing something like this, that the focus is giving more value to the person than the money that you get, and you're building that. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. Give to the point where the person feels like they've gotten so much for it, you then can balance as that grows and it, you know, organically more people want to work with you, you get more referrals, you start to have to balance your time because you have other people that work, and you have to start to balance the financial aspects so that it works for you. But there's nothing wrong with in the beginning. Some people do stuff for free in the beginning. I like having people pay because it's helpful for them to be in it. When people put it's energetically, you need to be invested too. Doesn't mean it's dedicated on how much, but I just want to tell you, don't worry about that too much. I think you're doing great. And I can see how much it's lighting you up, and just keep doing what you're doing.
That's awesome.
All right, next we got Kate, Colleen. There we go, Colleen.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. So I guess I'm realizing that even through like all of the not wanting to be here and really being in the wrong place and all that sort of thing, I've always been able to hold a space for people to change their own life. From when I had housemates, I used to joke that it was where everybody came to come out, because I had one roommate after another that would just end up being my roommate, that they would come out as they were there because they actually had a place where they felt safe and they felt like they weren't judged and they're able to be themselves. So I felt really good about that. And then having other people who came to where I was and went through divorces and separations, and like everybody who's come through the spaces that I've had, have started careers, have changed their lives, have worked through traumas, have come out. And yeah, so that was really, really cool, which I didn't actually think about until you asked that question. So thanks.
Right, because we gotta focus back into our why. We gotta focus back into what we're bringing to the world. Like it's important what we're doing. Look, you know, it's kind of like that, what they say in horse rescue, you can't rescue them all. You can't change the world for all the horses or something, but you can change the world for one horse, the horse that you rescue. And it's kind of the same thing in this. You know, we can't take on the things of the world, but even helping someone come out, helping someone feel safe, helping someone feel connected to their horse, you're changing their life. And who knows what they're going to model in their own life based on that for other people. There's no small thing here. And I love that. I love that. All right, Kate, I think that you and Michelle are last. So let's get in there so we can get back to our lists.
Oh, I have all the things, but my most current project is there's a couple Morgans in upstate New York that I'm trying to find a soft landing for. You know, it's another situation where the owner of these two horses is going through a divorce, and she bred the stallion and mare Morgan, and the mare's been bred and she's gonna have a foal in the fall. So she needs a soft place where she can have her baby. But the owner's having knee surgery and then moving to Oklahoma. So she's really worried about her horses and where they're going to end up. And, you know, their rescues, they both came from a little bit harder situations. So they're older and harder to place. So, you know, it may just be I take care of them for a short period of time and they go back to her, or, you know, they become a part of the bigger project I'm working on. But we'll kind of play it by ear and see if I can at least help where I can. It's a big daunting task. And like you said, you can't help them all, you know, and, you know, that's where I wish they all could have a soft landing somewhere where they can get the care they need, whether it's emotional support or physical support. You know,
Tell me a
so
story of
many.
when you did help and it worked out beautifully.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Story like that.
well, I do it with dogs. I've
There you
had
go.
a handful of dogs I've helped find homes for.
It's
So,
not a horse Zoom. So you could do it with the dogs, people, birds.
well, this is a good one. I'll do this dog, and I'll do it very quickly. So the people that owned my house before me found this dog, and it had a broken leg and it was necrotic. So I helped the dog get veterinary care. It had a 4-limb amputation, and then he ended up getting adopted by a wonderful family in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was a little white Eskimo dog, and we called him Braveheart.
Did they give you updates for?
Oh, I see pictures of him on Facebook fairly regularly. Yeah, and he has other dog siblings. But he hops around and has a curly white floofy tail. And if you go smile, he would show his little teeth. He was very, very cute. He was a great little dog.
That's adorable. That must feel so good to like know that you helped.
You do what you can when you can.
Exactly. Michelle, you're up. Let's get it. Batter up.
As everyone was speaking, I was having a very self-deprecating
Wait,
uh,
wait, ready? Wait, negative self-talk is on here. Reframing negative self-talk.
yeah, yeah. I literally was like, well, what would Christine say if she heard what was going on in my head right now? And I was just like, I was like inwardly, like, I felt like everything was like a gurgling. And I was like, oh my God, look at all you amazing people and your horses, and you do great things for the world. And I was like, bleh.
Oh, come on.
Inwardly,
If you guys only knew, please. This is like such a story.
I think that I'm a very good friend, and I am quite adept at talking my friends through their challenges, providing insight and guidance like a coach would without being a coach. So I think that's how I give back a lot.
Okay.
Shut up, Chris.
All right. I mean, okay. So I just want to say, everyone, like, there are like homeless kids that have Michelle's number on speed dial because Michelle will get in her car at 1 a.m. and drive across town because someone's in trouble. Okay. Like, Michelle is so underselling herself right now. It's ridiculous. But thank you for modeling how we undersell ourselves, Michelle. Thank you for modeling how crazy it is that we will be so connected to all the things that we're not doing right or that we haven't completed or that we're dragging our ass on and not be connected to the way we actually show up and the things that we actually do. Michelle's a friend that I know I can call in the middle of the night and she will be there. She is that friend. She is that friend. So, and she's done so much for people. She so loves doing stuff for people. So, yeah, tune in for more of Michelle. We will drag more out next time. Does anybody have anything that they want to add, that they have a question or anything at all before we go? I'm going to do a little recap first. Okay. So the idea is journaling helps get things out of your head, right? And lightens and gets rid of the static. Making lists is your friend because it
Right.
chunks down the day for you. It chunks down your tasks. Eat that frog means that it's best if you it's best if you do the things that you don't want to do the most first, right? Reframe, check your energy, do whatever you need to do to be sure that if resentments have built up or feelings, look, if you want to go scream in a pillow or cry or just feel like do it and then reframe, get back in it, right? Don't hold it in if it needs to come out, but don't live it. We need to keep your signals clear. You need to keep possibilities open. And you need to remember that everything is happening for you, not to you, no matter how hard it is to see up close and personal. One day you'll look back, but right now may not be that day. And when all else fails, go do something for someone else. Take breaks, give yourself what you need, go do something, give back, do something for someone else. It's way better to do it than to give money. Way better to go and do something in person, interact, than money, and feel good about it and get out of your own head. Now, any questions? All right, let's go change the world. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you, Christine.
You're so welcome.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks, Christine.
Bye. Thank
Have a
you.
great- Your day, everybody.
Have a great day.